You missed me or what? So, I had a dream a couple weeks ago, and lately I've been getting pulled to go to this place. But before I do that, it's kind of been like I kind of been riding the fence with it because I get a good feeling about it at one point, and then I get some news that makes me be like, I don't know. But anyway, here's the dream. So it was April 29th when I had the dream, right? So a couple weeks ago. Sorry, I keep looking that way. Don't mind the way I look either, because I literally just woke up and knocked in his door because they sent me this load to pick up last night, and the motherfuckers were closed. Bullshit per usual. Welcome to the trucking world, right? And so I had to sleep along the street and wake up at my appointment time, and then late fee because it was a shuttle run. Somebody asked me to pick up last night and run it up 18 miles up the road, and the motherfucker was supposed to be here yesterday morning, and so they trying to charge me a late fee, but whatever. Anyway, back to the dream. So, my looking. I was talking about looking. I keep looking at the door to make sure that it's not done unloading. So, dream, April 29th. Okay, so driving for the first company I ever worked for, Stevens Transport, in Dallas, Texas. Shout out to Stevens. And they sent me to this crazy place, like off in the boondocks. I don't know, but that's usual with Stevens, okay? And I pulled up, and it was like this crazy yard where like all the trailers were everywhere. It was so tight to get in. Like if you've ever been to like a real yard or something, it's like that. You really can only go like one way in that motherfucker. Like it's just enough space for you to drive one way, right? It was a crazy ass yard. But anyway, I can't remember exactly where it was, and I've lost a few pieces of the dream, but I wanted to drop it before I lose everything, you know. And later on, I'll tell you why it was important for me to tell you about this dream too, and all the little confirmations and stuff that I've been getting. And so I pull up and I go inside the office, you know, to check in. I remember it being dark outside. Of course, it was dark outside. It's always dark, right, in my dreams. But I also remember, you know, getting the feeling that whatever load I was picking up was like some top secret G14 classified. When I tell you I just woke up, literally, like my hair, I ain't done my edges. Anyway, I'm like, what is that in my hair? Anyway. And so it was a super special load. I remember getting the feeling in the dream that it was some classified, specialized shit that I was picking up. Because I remember being super anxious and nervous about it and making sure that I crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's. But I walked into the building to check in, and it was this cute little Asian lady at the desk. She kind of reminded me of Velma from Scooby-Doo. Like she had the haircut and glasses and everything, right? She was so cute. And so I asked her, you know, what am I supposed to do per usual? And so she told me, she gave me instructions. She said, you go around the building, you go up to some particular thing and get your paperwork processed there, blah, 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 normal shit, you know, chalky wheels, slash jams, that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, cool, copy. And then she kind of looked at me sideways, and she's like, where are you from? In reality 3D, most people always ask me that, because she was like, I said, why? She said, because your accent, where you from? And so I told her, I'm from Texas, you know, I get that a lot out here, blah, blah, blah. And she said, okay. And so we started, you know, talking and chopping it up, and I can't remember exactly what she said, but I remember we sat there and we talked for a few minutes. It seemed like a long while, and I remember whatever we talked about, she ended up giving me some advice about something. I don't remember what it was, but I remember leaving that conversation feeling really helped and assisted in whatever was going on in my life. Like, she was an angel, I guess, you know, I don't know, but yeah, I don't remember what the conversation was about, but I left there like, okay, I got this, you know. And so I did what she told me to do, you know, and went around there, and I dropped my trailer in the door, slid Tim, shocked the wheels and all that stuff. Oh, my load is done. Hold on. Well, they ain't seen my EFS code for the late fee, so I'm still waiting. Anyway, back to the story. So I did what she asked me to do, and there were some other trucks that were picking up trailers and loads too, and so she came out, you know, processing the paperwork for everybody, giving everybody paperwork, asking them to sign and everything. So she got in my truck, she gave me my paperwork, and she told me, you know, go ahead and sign here, do X, Y, and Z. And the next thing I know, it was a car pulled up in the yard where we all were, and she went to the car and she greeted someone, and it was another female, and it looked like the way she was talking to her that might have been a wife or a girlfriend or something. I don't know, but they were super cute together, right? And I guess she told, you know, hold on, I gotta finish up and then I'll be ready to go. And so she came back to my truck and she finished doing what she was doing. And then I asked her, I was like, I'm sorry, but do you guys have a restroom that I can use? Because I really got to go to the restroom. I've been waiting for a minute. And so she said, oh, yeah, cool, no problem. And so then she took me inside. She directed me to the restroom. And so, you know, she told me where the restroom was. And then she's like, I'm finna go back outside and talk to my wife. And I got some other stuff I got to do. And she was like, it's going to take her a minute to do it, so take my time. And I was like, okay, cool. You know, she was really, really sweet. And, you know, I appreciated the information that she gave me, whatever that was, you know. And so I'm in the restroom, and then just out of the thin blue sky, like this thank you card just falls into my lap. And I'm like, the fuck? Okay. Now, I don't remember exactly what the card said. I just remember it being like red and gold, shiny, glittery. Like, I think that's like a theme in my ethereal world, because I've said that before, red and silver, red and gold. And it had like really pretty like cursive letters on it. And so, you know, I assume the divine just wanted me to thank her for what she said. Again, I think she's an angel, but anyway. So I signed it, you know, put my name on it, and I said with Stevens Transport, because that's what I was working for. And I went to go put the card on her desk. And so I walked outside, you know, after I put the card there. I didn't think Divine wanted me to say nothing, but again, she was outside talking to her wife, and I walked outside, and it was like a bunch of shit going on. Like, it was chaotic out there. And I noticed that there were these like men that were standing near the door watching me as I walked out. And I just kind of looked at them and just kind of kept walking to my truck. And then I looked over, and it was like as I walked, they kind of followed. And I just got this feeling that I needed to run. Like, I don't know what was happening. Remember, this load is G14 classified, right? And these like mob guys, they like were gangster guys, like in like all black and shades, and like it was like some weird shit happening, and I felt like I needed to run. But I didn't necessarily like run. Like I still was kind of cautious about like if I run, like do I look guilty? I don't know. So I just started walking really, really fast. And so next to the shipper, there was like this grass knoll, and so I walked over the grass knoll, and on the other side there was this apartment complex. So when I started walking through, like the apartment, just kind of like trying to hide but run, I don't know. But I saw these like Italian looking ladies that were sitting out on a porch, or like they had like these chairs, lawn chairs, and they were sitting outside. And when they saw me, immediately one of them got on the phone, and as I was walking by real fast, I heard her say, "We found her, we got her." And I just took the fuck off. Like, I don't know where I was going. I just started fucking running, right? Somehow, I guess I made it to my truck and then back out again. I don't know, because I ended up with my dog, Harry, in my arms, right? And I made it back to the office, to the building where the Asian lady was. And I was just like running through this building, trying to find somewhere to hide. Like, it was dark. Nobody was there. I think I was the last truck to get loaded. And so I'm just like looking around. There's nobody there. I'm trying to wait, like find somebody to ask for help. Nobody is there, right? And so I keep looking at this blunt. Like, why does it keep doing that? I don't know. It looks weird. Maybe if I made it down. So the only thing I could think of was to go back to where I seen the Asian lady, like go back to her desk and let her know, that these people are chasing me, and if you see them, like don't tell my menu, like I'm gonna find somewhere to hide. Like I don't know why they're chasing me, But when I got to the desk to tell her that, it was like a lot of blood everywhere, and I went around the desk, and her wife were on the ground unalived. And so I immediately knew at that point that I had to get the fuck out of there. Like, I don't know why they're after me. I don't know what is happening here. I'm in the midst of something that I probably shouldn't be in. And so I just took off down the hallway. Remember, I had Harry in my arms, right? And so when I peeked around one of the corners, I seen those same Italian ladies, like searching all the rooms, looking through the hallway, trying to find me. And then on the other end, there were now like 6, 8, 10 fucking mafia dudes looking around like they were looking for me, and I don't know why. I went into this room, this open room, but I got the feeling that it was a trap. Like, it just seemed like somewhere where they were expecting me to go, and they wanted to surround me and corner me in this room. And so my intuition said, that's a trap, don't go in there. And so I went down the hall a little bit, and I found like this little closet area, and opened the door, and I got in the closet. It was really, really tight, small, and cramped. And I told Harry, I said, please be quiet for once. I mean, because my dog is vocal, okay? He will holler, he cries, he barks at everything. Like, I just was like, please be quiet. And he was quiet, which, like I'm saying, is unnatural. So it was really weird, but he was quiet. I don't know if he was scared or what, but he didn't say anything. And I was scared and nervous and really trying not to move. And so I slowly pulled my phone out, and I hit record on my phone. I was trying to send a voice note to my mom, let her know where I was at, and these people were following me, and describe them, all that. But I couldn't get the voice note to function on my phone. I couldn't get it to dial the number, and she's on speed dial on my phone, right? It just wouldn't work. And, in dreams, typically, like, if you can't dial a number or you can't see something, like, there's something in your real life that's blocking. But anyway, that's a whole nother story, another message, okay? And so I was trying to send the voice, and so I finally got it to function, and I said what I need to say. I'm here, these people, X, Y, and Z. I got Harry with me, so if you don't hear from me, like, in the next 10 minutes or so, send the police, right? But I kept hitting the send button. But you know how, like, when your phone, like, freezes, like, you're trying to send something and you just keep hitting the send button and it won't send? That's what was happening. And I was like, fuck, I'm thinking to myself, like, I gotta get this message to my mom because I don't know what's gonna happen, right? I just kept hitting it, and then finally it went through. And I was like, okay, all right. And I looked down at Harry and I said, look, I don't know what's gonna happen, but all I know is I'm gonna get us out of here. And he just looked at me. He didn't say nothing, he didn't whine nothing, he just looked at me. And I said, okay. I said, be really quiet. And so then I peeked out the closet door, and just like cracked it really slowly. And I saw those Italian ladies walk past it, and I just kept real quiet. And then I saw those mob guys run past it thereafter, a few minutes later, and they're all going in one direction. And so me and Harry slid out of the door and started running the other direction, but quietly. And then I woke up. Don't know what that means. Don't know what that's about, but anyway. So lately, I've been having conversations with people, and like random people that I used to talk to at Stevens Transport have been calling my phone. Like, I ain't talked to these people like 2 years, right? And everything's just kind of pointing towards Stevens Transport, right? And so I was talking to one of my friends, JD, on the phone. We were talking about, memories at Stevens and everything. And I told him, I've gotten paid more at Stevens than I have at any of these other companies that I work for, even the one that I work for now. And if it wasn't for, what happened at Stevens with the whole sexual harassment thing, you guys, if you've been with me for a minute, you remember that video that I posted about that. I would still be at Stevens, And as soon as I said that, I'm driving, by the way, and I'm talking to JD, a white dove. When I say a literal white dove in real life, I've never seen a white dove in real life. Wedding white doves, okay. No, that motherfucker flew across my windshield. I almost hit it, and I was like, oh, So I don't know if that's confirmation that maybe Stevens Transport is gonna be my last stop before I decide to retire. I don't know, or before I get my truck. That's my retirement, is me getting my truck. But that's a whole nother story. But anyway, I don't know. I talked to my sister about it, and I talked to some other people, and they're like, why not? But I like Baylor, and they keep me running. I wish they paid like Stevens. But anyway, my life is getting good, so I can't complain. I got everything I want. Divine has been good to me, so I guess I should listen to them if that's what they're nudging, but they don't have to make it crystal clear, okay? And I'm gonna have to do some meditation. Anyway.